Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? Been just a little bit of time since I made a video. And as I'm going to explain in this video, I had a little bit of a life event that kind of kept me out of making videos for a few days, actually kept me out of life for a few days. And if you read the title to this video, it's not clickbait. So I'll start back 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I have a condition called atrial fibrillation, which means my heart sometimes runs in a pitter-patter rhythm, not a beat rhythm, but more of a beat, which I've had for some time now. You know, I'm not a young man. I was born in the 1960s, almost 60 years old. So, you know, actually, as you get old, things start to happen, and this is something I've been dealing with for a number of years. And one of the ways they bring your heart back into rhythm is they do a shock of your heart. They put the paddles on your heart and they bring it back into normal rhythm, what they call sinus rhythm. And I've had that done a couple times, but it just hasn't stayed. You know, any kind of normal little event could maybe knock it out and put it back into a AFib rhythm. So anyway, 2 weeks ago, I went in, my doctor recommended, I'd been waiting for the operation, the surgery, and of course with COVID, it hasn't been able to happen because they've been dealing with COVID problems and haven't done elective or emergency surgeries. But I'd been waiting long enough. Eventually my heart doctor decided to go ahead and speed me up and say that this was a necessary procedure and we need to get it done, and move me up to emergency status. So 2 weeks ago, and I'm not sure exactly what day, it was a Friday before last Friday. Last Friday was May 1st. It was the Friday before that, whatever day that was. I went in. They have to put you under, they put a ventilator, just the same thing that they use with the COVID people. They put a tube down your mouth. They actually have to put you out. It's not a difficult surgery, very non-invasive surgery. It just run a little line up your groin, and it's with a camera, and it goes up to your heart. And in your heart, you can see where the electrical impulses are sparking in your heart. And then they just kind of take a little, either something to burn them or something to freeze them, depending on how it's sparking, and then they just freeze it, and then your heart stays in the sinus rhythm, which is where I'm at today. So 2 weeks ago, I go in for this procedure and get put out, everything's fine, and get woken right back up, basically because the equipment in the hospital wasn't working, which was a real bummer. Because they put you to sleep and they have to wake you up. But it was not anything difficult. I mean, I woke right up and got in the wheelchair. They took me outside, and my wife and my daughter were waiting for me, or I think my son was waiting for me on that one. And immediately got back on my feet and had no problems. It was just a little bit of a sore throat. So then last week, May 1st, last Friday, they were going to try to do the surgery again. So I go in 6 a.m. to do the surgery. They put me out just like they did before. I'm expecting to wake up, just like I did before, everything to be, relatively routine, because I've already been through the process. The only thing is I didn't get the actual burning because the machine wasn't working correctly, or working at all, I think. So, I just expected I was going to go to sleep and get up. So on May 1st, they put me under at 6 a.m. And I didn't wake up till Monday. I didn't wake up till the following. So they put me on Friday. I was supposed to be up Saturday. I didn't wake up till Monday. And when they woke me up, I was paralyzed because I had they had to keep me still. I guess I was basically in a somewhat a state of unconsciousness, complete unconsciousness. When I'm going to talk about how close to death I think I was, I think that I actually died and came back to life. And I'll tell you why as this video goes on, and how it relates to the topic, and kind of how all this fits together in this time, and which is really, in my mind, kind of mysterious, because I think we are going through a time of where everything is being revealed. There's no more hidden stuff anymore. I mean, the economy, you're getting the full picture of what's going on. the people that have, masterminded fiat currency, you're getting a full vision of what's going on. It basically doesn't matter anymore if you're worth $1 million or $1 billion. The money has got very little value anymore. And this kind of relates to what happened to me in my in this revelation I had, is why I was basically out. So anyway, I wake up that Monday morning totally frozen, could not move, having to pull the ventilator out of my throat, and not knowing what happened to me. All I know is that the person that was taking the ventilator out, the anesthesiologist, told me that it was Monday instead of Saturday. And I knew I was due to get out Saturday, and it was Monday. And I was totally frozen, couldn't ask a question because I was still under the anesthesia of the procedure, and I could not move, could not do anything, and everything like that. So all I know is that I woke up and I saw people over me, standing over me, working on me, and heard that it was Monday and not Saturday, and knew that I could not move. I couldn't even open my eyes, barely open my eyes, couldn't speak. Of course, with the tube you can't down your mouth, couldn't move my arms, my legs, or anything. I was completely paralyzed. So right away, I'm looking at everybody around the room to try to read their reaction to me being awake, because I don't know what I look like. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I'm a complete paralyzed person. I had a stroke, or what in the world happened to me? And so I'm like looking at all these people that were standing over my bed, that are telling me to relax and be calm, and we're working on you. Everything's fine. Well, actually, they didn't say everything's fine, but they were working on me, and I just kind of laid there while they were going through this. But I was panic stricken. But I was reading their faces and looking at their expressions and their emotions, and I could tell they were all very surprised to see me wake up. That it wasn't a routine, get him up and get him going. I think everybody was shocked I was still alive. And I actually think that I probably, for some period of time, wasn't alive. I had some manifestations of death. I don't know what it was, but there was some processes of death going on. And I don't have a near-death experience where I have a tunnel, going down a tunnel, or seeing a bright light, or seeing people had passed before me. But I had that death feeling, that spiritual death feeling, that something had happened to me. Something very, very traumatic had happened to me. Something very powerful had happened to me. And something that was actually very scary happened to me. Not scary in the sense that I think anybody should be scared of what happens to them when they cease to exist on this world. Not that kind of scared, but scary in a way of a respectful, powerful, scary. I don't want to ever go through that again. And not only that, I don't want to, do the things where, oh God, show me a sign, or oh God, give me some message. No, I got it. I understand where I stand in this universe and who I am, and I don't need to have any more of those kinds of tests. Not that I was asking for that kind of test, but sometimes people do. But what I'm saying is that whatever I experienced was more powerful than anything I've ever experienced before, or anything that I could even put into words, or anything that I could put into content. I mean, that's all I could say. It's just there's just no way. People talk about the light and all this other stuff. To me, after going through what I went through, that seems kind of very, very small, a very insignificant thing to see a light, a bright light, a warm presence, and go down a tunnel. That seems very benign and not very impactful as compared to what I went through. Because what I went through was, I'd say, trying to think of the word, it would probably be, I think the only word I could say is just overwhelming power. And then take it times 10, squares 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 or whatever. That would be what I went through, something that you could not express in words. I think that in my experience, and this is my experience, I know other people have these experiences too, but in my experience, if anybody's able to put it into words, they didn't get the full dose of what I got, because what I got wasn't able to put into words. So anyway, I'm flat on my back. I've been basically in a coma for 2 to 3 days. They call my wife and my kids, of course, tell them that they couldn't wake me up, which was devastating on my family. So I got to try to pull back out of this from Monday and actually got out of the hospital Tuesday, simply because it was what I feel from when I come out of that Monday and how I felt, and then how busted up I was and how down I was and how I couldn't even go to the bathroom or get out of bed or even, go to the restroom myself without being carried. How far down I was for me to come back this quickly is a miracle. Just nothing more than a miracle. That's all I can say. And I'm not making this into a spiritual talk, because it's not intended to be a spiritual talk. I'm not pushing any kind of religious experience or, any kind of thing. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying what happened to me. I think this is what people want in this world today. We're in a world where, I grew up, of course, in the 1960s and 70s, where you didn't have the internet and we didn't have all the information we had today. So you had to just rely on local news or CBS, NBC, the major news stations. I think ABC, NBC, and CBS. That was the three major ones, and of course they have public. And then whatever and I remember everybody used to sit around and watch the nightly news. That's what you went on. But then things would happen in the real world, and you would say that does not make sense compared to what this news is telling me. I don't see that happening. And I'm not going to get specific about things that they tell us in the news that aren't true, or things that they tell us, but obviously there's a little bit of deception going on. We're over that. We're beyond that. This is a new time where I'm a real person telling a real story that happened to me, and I'm not making it. It's not fake news. When Donald Trump's done anything, he's actually coined a pretty good tagline there when he says fake news, because that's true. There's a lot of fake news. This isn't fake news, and it's not news at all. It's just one person's experience in this world, and I don't know if it makes any sense to anybody else or not. But I'm going to tell a story because it's true, and because I think it relates to where we're at today in this world and what's going on with this world today. And because after I got out, after I actually set up in the hospital for 3 days, tried to get myself better. And finally, when I kind of willed myself to get better, not really did it, but asked for it, and my mind was competent and strong enough to get it done, I was able to do it. And that again was something else I can't put into words. This is an experience that I'm trying to just give you a rough framework for, because I could never put it into words that would make any sense. I've tried already to tell quite a few people, and of course my wife and my kids and everything, because they want to know what I went through, but it's been very hard, very difficult. And even though I've tried to think of the words to say, that they just aren't coming out right. But it was a very impactful experience, something I would never want to do again, but something that affected me profoundly, and I think will affect me for the rest of my life. But in the same respect, as I come out and watch the news and what's going on in the economy and everything like that, I see that the thing that happened to me is exactly what's happening in the world today. The world is dying. All these financial systems and banks and the systems that we used for all these years, that we had all our faith and belief in, and people didn't question, and people just thought this is the way it is, are dying. And we're going to a new time, a new day. Things are different. People are going to want to express themselves and tell what what they've experienced without having an agenda or having some way for them to to monetize it or to do something like that. They just want to tell a story. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just telling a story. Like I say, I got a small channel. I don't have a lot of subscribers. It's not a money maker. It doesn't make hardly anything, especially in these times with crypto being down and everything like that. But I want to really tell a story because I do think it relates. And as I got out and started realizing what happened to me, realized that there was probably some pause in my life, and saw that it's a restart for me, and it was a restart. And here we are in this economy, and it's a restart, and it is. It's right now. You literally are seeing a way of life go away and another life coming into view. And I think things are going to be different, just like things are different for me right now. I think we'll be in a digital age. There'll be a lot less interaction with people, a lot less interaction with each other as we've done before. And a lot of people are really, really having trouble with that. And my wife is having trouble with that. But I saw this 20 years ago when the internet came into existence. I saw 20 years ago, why would you go to a local store to buy something when you can go online and buy it? Why would you go to the grocery store and spend a lot of time when you can just do it from online? I mean, I saw that happening. I mean, if you like the ideas or not, that's the way it is. That's just what's happening, and you have to take it for what it is. It's just like a lot of people. Now, of course, when I was up in the hospital for a few days, a lot of people were lamenting the fact that sports are going to be different. They're not going to be played in big stadiums and arenas and stuff like that where all these teams play. Well, they may be played and they may be more popular than ever because they're played in such a way that everybody watches it online. So when an NFL football game's played, yeah, you get a stadium there with 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people, but now you got it online where you got people around the world watching it. So, this is changing. Things are changing. And there is a change coming about. And of course, this change is including the fact that we are in a new age. And I hate that word because new age is used so in so many different ways. A lot of people, you look at it negatively. A lot of people look at it religiously. A lot of people look at it as a anti-God thing. New age. The presence of a demonic being or whatever. I'm just not saying that. I'm saying it generically. New age. We're looking at a new age now. Generically, a new time, and I think it's okay. I don't think we have to worry. I don't think anybody has to be worried about the future. I don't think people are going to have to worry about the jobs and things like that. I think everything is going to work out and everything's going to be fine. But we're going to have to know things are going to be different. But things are going to be better. And the reason things are going to be better because while I was in this state of not being able to do anything to help myself out, I knew I wasn't in control. I knew that I was under the control of something higher than myself. And no matter how many billions somebody has, there's no way they're going to have the outcome they'd like to have happen, because there's another power in the universe that's more powerful than anything else that exists in this dimension today. And that power is going to make it turn out the way that they, whatever that power is, turn out. That's the way it's going to turn out. And that's why we should embrace this, because it's going to be better and it's going to turn out the way it should turn out. And never be afraid, never be scared, and never worry about what's going to happen. But I do think, and I have a firm belief, that as we were seeing, money is moving out of currencies and it's moving into digital currencies. And of course, we've been working on this for a while. And I've been a big proponent of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's crossed over the $10,000 barrier. And it's done very well. I think over 30% this month. So I think we're moving into that state. I think a lot of people need to, if they're worried about finances, if they're worried about money, and I'm not giving you advice, as everybody tells you, tired of hearing that little disclaimer, but I'm not giving you advice, but I'm telling you that you might want to just start sowing some money into the Bitcoin or into the cryptocurrencies, because I think they will keep up with everything else dropping. So as everything else is dropping, the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrencies are going to keep up with. Their gains are going to offset the drops of all the other negative things going on in the economy, the commodities, the stocks, the bonds, all the other stuff. That will be overcome and erased with the increase in digital currencies and Bitcoin. So anyway, like I say, I'm just telling you what happened to me. Like I said, just tell it the way it is and give the story of what happened to me. But I do believe that something happened to me very significant. I haven't been able to. It's funny because when something like this happens to you, and this is one of the things that kind of happened to me, was that people tend to kind of be a little bit scared of you right after you come out. And I could tell that the doctors were kind of a little bit scared to talk to me. It's like none of the doctors came and talked to me. And kind of one of my doctors came in and he kind of talked to me, and I could tell he was pretty wide-eyed when he was talking to me, and he didn't really want to hear too much, because it's kind of like, we're in a world today, you don't know what, they know that whatever happened to me, something bad happened to me. And I know something bad happened to me. But I'm having an appointment with my physician next midweek, and I will try to get more clarity on exactly what happened. But I know that I was unresponsive for, and I'm not sure if this is correct or not, but 36 minutes I was unresponsive. Maybe some more, but I was pretty groggy at that time too, so I'm not very, so for 36 minutes, and I'll tell you what happened. So after they took the tube out, my doctor briefly, I looked at him, and I said, after I got a little bit of my motion, my ability to speak back, what happened? And his thing was, hey, I did the procedure went really, really well. I handed you off to the anesthesiologist to wake you up, and the anesthesiologist, and my procedure's done. Now I'm handing you off to somebody else, and that's now you're his problem or her problem. I don't know who it is, because I've never met the person. So as he handed me off to the next physician, he kind of left. And luckily he didn't leave the hospital or leave the area, but I wasn't 100% his focus or attention at that point. I was somebody else's focus and attention. But he told the next person that he handed me off to, make sure he gets woken up, and make sure he gets woken up, because he still felt a duty to me to make sure that even though he didn't have to be there to wake me up, he just wanted to make sure I got woken up. And he said sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he does, but this just happened to be a day that he stuck around and did make sure I got woken up. And then he came back, or was in the area, and was just kind of glancing, or had happened to recognize the fact that I was still down, and looked at me and was horrified at the time that had gone by, realized that I hadn't gotten up, and also horrified at the way I looked. And of course, immediately the first thing they suspected is that I had major brain damage, and that I had to do all the scans to make sure I didn't lose oxygen or have significant brain damage, which is, and my family had to go through that for a whole day. We're just going to come back with any kind of brain function at all. But they did the brain scan, and thank God everything was fine, and I didn't have any problems. And I'm standing here on the street like I did, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm a little bit weaker than I usually am, but I'm feeling much, much, much better. But things are changing. Things are changing, and it is going to get better, and things will be better. And I hope to maybe weave what happened to me into some of my future content, because I do think it has some relevance. It's always just not purely numbers and graphs and analysis and stuff. There is some emotions and spirit, and some side to this world that we don't see, but it still exists nonetheless. It's always funny that everybody can interpret a situation differently. Some people will say nothing happened. Other people said you did me really bad, and everybody's got their own way of looking at things. But we do know something else is going on in the background, and there is something else going on in the background, and that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying that there's something else going on in the background, and it is powerful, and it will, And if you ever had anything happen to you like that to you, leave me a comment. I'd like to maybe talk with you about it, because it was pretty, like I say, it was a pretty impactful thing to happen to me. I felt like, it changed my life. And I don't know where I'll be with this in a year from now or 6 months from now, but right now it rocked me pretty good. It rocked me pretty hard. Like I say, enough that I can't really even put it into words. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. I'll be watching Bitcoin tomorrow. Like I say, it's up over 30%. I think if you just start throwing a little money into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, I think you'd be it'll be an easy way to transition into this new world that we're entering. So, like I say, only my advice. That's just my opinion. Not anything that I have any predeterminants of, or understanding of, or any knowledge of that would give me anything outside of this. My experiences and what I think. That's it. And that's all I'm talking about. It's just what I've experienced and what I think and how it just kind of impacted me. So I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.